Hey everybody, this is Sid Hameed with Brickfront Properties and Construction. Okay, so today we're here in Bowie, Maryland in our studio, and we're going to talk about rental properties and rental cash flow and rental property management. We're going to talk about how to screen the tenants, how to make sure you're getting the right tenant, and how to do the proper paperwork, since all these different counties and localities are starting to change their guidelines in terms of licensing when you're having a rental property, and then making sure there's proper inspections are done, lead-based inspections and so forth. So again, we're going to talk about 100,000 view, then we're going to come down 50,000 view, and then we're going to come down a little bit further from there. So 100,000 view, hey, you go out, you bought 100 rental properties. All right, great. Hey, so you got 100 rental properties, you picked them up for $100,000 each. Okay, so now you have a cash rate, a cap rate, okay, which is cash on cash return. You have a cap rate of, let's say, 12% on there, okay? And so now you see the money coming in, you see the cap rate, but then you start to see the problems that come with this. So one of the things that BlackRock did, when this whole thing with the non-default assets and Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac with this crash in 2007, BlackRock went out and bought over $3 billion worth of transactions in terms of rental cash flow. And they basically thought they was going to make all this cash flow, but now with all the issues, they realized that they're not making the returns that they were going to, so therefore they're about to dump this huge particular asset. So anyhow, looking at cash flow, it's one thing to make $300 a month, it's another thing to make $600 a month, okay? And then looking at the tenant, if you get the right tenant in place and you screen them properly, so you never want to go with the first applicant. You want to take your time, look at 2, 3, 4, 5 applications, take your time, because once they get in there, they're in there. And it's really hard, especially in the District of Columbia, to get rid of these folks because they have the TOPA Act, and then the District of Columbia favors the particular tenant, not so much the landlord. And Baltimore City and Baltimore County also give a certain amount of favoritism towards the particular tenant, not so much the landlord. So to avoid all the necessary mess, what you want to do is take multiple applications, take your time, look at the criminal background, look at their employment, okay, check them out, call their references, look at their credit, look at their job, look at their income, look at their debt to income ratio. You want to look at all these particular things, and you want to make sure there's no sublease clause. They cannot sublease this to their uncles and their aunts and their nephews and their cousins and everybody else. So you sublease clause, and also if they're about to move, you want to make sure they give you at least a 60-day notice before they move that particular out of the property, so it gives you enough time to do your inspections and to advertise the property properly and do your due diligence to get a new tenant in there. And make sure you have in your lease agreement that you are allowed to show the property to other potential tenants within the last 60 days when they put in their notice. If you're dealing with a Section 8 tenant and you have a tenant that actually works and you have a tenant that does not work and the whole Section 8 is paying 100%. So some people say that it's better to work with folks that have a job and that are responsible and that are working to get out of the Section 8 program, that rather than work with folks that are just 100% dependent on the Section 8. It's really up to you, because every individual is different. I've had hundreds of Section 8 tenants and voucher programs. Some people have been great, and then some people have been bad. So, you just got to go through the process, and you just got to get better at it, and make sure you choose the right tenant. You get to know the people. You talk to them, you find out about them, and it's a partnership. They're living in your house, and there's rules, and you make sure your rules are made very clear. Replace the air filter. Okay, if there's a leak, you call me. If there's a flood, you call me. Not 2 weeks later, but that night, within 10 hours, 3 hours, you call me. If the roof comes in, you call me. Okay, so It's a communication thing. And if you and your tenant are communicating properly, then hey, you know, the best thing about cash flow on rental properties is you have a good relationship with your tenant. And sometimes what I do is, you know, I will take the property, it's my asset, so I may want to upgrade the refrigerator. I may want to upgrade the washing machine, the dryer. It's my asset, so I'm making an improvement to my asset, but also I'm giving the tenant a new refrigerator, a new stove. You know, so they feel like, hey, you know, they got a new stove, great, I'm gonna stay here. So sometimes you may want to give them a $25 discount just because the fact that they've been paying on time. So you want to incentivize your tenant so you can have a good working relationship with them, because after all, they are living in your property. So they have a choice. Either one, they could F it up, or number two, they could take care of it and you guys could work together in harmony and then get that cash flow that you need, and you minimize on your expenses, you minimize the move in, move out, because we all know when a tenant moves out, it's going to cost you at least $2,000 to $4,000 to get the property back into the cycle. Okay, you may have to paint, you may have to replace the carpet, you know, cleaning, you know, just bullshit stuff that they didn't do that they should have done. So these things are going to need to be taken care of. It's going to cost you money to do that. So having the tenant staying there and having a good relationship with the tenant is the optimal choice. So give a little, get a lot. Okay, so work with your tenants, you know, screen your tenants well, take your time. You don't have to go with the first applicant. Don't seem nervous, okay? Check out their background, check out their application, check out their history, and make sure there's your lease agreement with no sub lease agreements, you know, where they can sublease the property. And you have to go to the property. You have to go and inspect your asset. Go there once a month, twice a month, 3 times a month. You know, go there if you have to, but you need to let them know you are present and that you will have to come through time to time to check on stuff. So even if you got 5 times a year, 6 times a year, that's better than a lot of landlords. A lot of landlords will never go to their properties, and they find out that they got 30 people living there with 20 dogs and having dog fights and, you know, gambling and prostitution and drugs going on in their particular rental property. Okay, been there. I know about that. So you gotta go and check out your assets. You gotta get involved. If you wanna be involved in renting your properties and you wanna control your cash flow and you wanna maximize on your cash flow, you have to be involved. This is a true business. This is a true business. You have to be involved. You have to go out, meet your tenants, talk to your tenants, look at your asset, inspect your asset, talk to your neighbors, okay? Check on your HVAC, check on your stoves, your washing machine, your dishwasher, check on your unit. It's your asset. If you don't do that, and the tenants are aware that you don't do that, there is a possibility that they would use that against you and do what they need to do. So that could cause you a lot of damage. So be involved in your real estate rental transactions, and your cash flow will increase, okay? Your cash flow will increase. As long as your communication and you have a good rapport with your tenants, cash flow increase. That goes with Section 8 tenants as well as non-Section 8 tenants. You know, good people are good people regardless of the situation, okay? So if you are a landlord and you have rental properties, you know, be involved and look at your lead-based certificates. Make sure you qualify and you submit your application with the Maryland Department of Environmentals. Get your tracking number, get your certificate number, get your properties registered, okay? Because some of these tenants are extremely intelligent and they could also come after you as the landlord. So this is it's a business. It could be a risky business, but as long as you have your stuff organized and you're very clear in terms of what you're doing and you have the right systems and the right process in place, you can make good money in renting properties for cash flow and just getting checks in the mail. But you have to be detailed, organized, effective with your business. This is a real estate investment, buy and hold long-term business. And then eventually you're gonna wanna refinance them, pull your equity out, or maybe just sell them and get cash out, okay? So there's plenty of exit properties. So this is Sid Hameed with Brickfront Properties. Today we were talking about real estate investment properties that you're buying and holding, and then the tenant process and how to screen and qualify the tenants and how to build the relationship with the tenants. Because if you have a good working relationship with the tenant, you will have a good cash flowing property. Thank you very much. Hopefully this information was helpful. You know, go to Facebook, go to Twitter, go to LinkedIn, you know, give us a comment, tell us you like our videos, you like our information. This is all free. This is all for you guys. So thank you very much. Sid Hameed, Brickfront Properties. Today was about rental properties and cash flow. Thank you.